Hello students, let us begin with the third unit, that is On Children by Khalil Gibran. Khalil Gibran was born in the year 1883 and died in the year 1931. He is a Lebanese American artist and poet. His poems are considered poetic essays as they do not adhere to usual versification. The Prophet is his best known work and has been translated into more than 25 languages including Kannada. On Children, that which we are studying today, On Children is a selection from The Prophet, which is his best known work. That On Children has been selected from The Prophet, which offers a critique of the usual expectations of parents regarding their children and urges them to introspect. Here, in On Children, the poet, that is the prophet, he is going to criticize the expectations of parents regarding their children. ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ತಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನು ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಆನ್ ದೇರ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅರ್ಜಸ್ ದಮ್ ಟು ಇಂಟ್ರಾಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್. urges, he expects the parents to introspect themselves about the expectations on their children. Through this poem, he offers to guide the parents. ಈ ಪೋಯಂ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ he wants to guide the parents on the essence of parenting with love, much against the mundane expectations. That means how they are expecting from their children that is not good one, that is bad mannered one. ಅಥವಾ ನಾವು ಇನ್ನು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳೋದೇ ಆದ್ರೆ they should not expect from their children. That means what they should do. Expect ಮಾಡಬಾರದು ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ how they should behave with their children, how they should act with their children. That he here, the prophet, is going to guide in the poem to the parenthood. Dear children, let us continue with the poem. And a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children." Here, a woman stands for a mother. Here, a woman means a mother. She held a babe against her bosom. ಮಗುನ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ಲು and she is speaking to the prophet and she said, ಆ prophet ಹತ್ರ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾಳೆ. she said, "Speak to us of children." ನನಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳು, ನನ್ನ ಮಗುವಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳು ಅಂತಂದ ತಾಯಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಲು, she requested to the prophet to tell something or to speak of her child. ಆ ಮಗು ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳು ಅಂತಂದು ಅವಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ಲು. For this he said, he stands for the prophet, the speaker, the prophet or the speaker in the poem. He said, "Your children are not your children." It is the beginning of his words, his reply to the woman's request. As we are readers here and we are reading the reply from the prophet, we may get shocked of his first expression, that his reply, that he said that your children are not your children. It is the declaration of the prophet to the woman who has asked to speak on the children. ಆ ಮಗುವಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡುವಂತಂದು ಕೇಳಿದಂತ ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಆ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, your children are not your children. What he meant by ಮಗು ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟದ್ದು ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ what does the prophet meant by? The prophet continues. He said that they are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. It is the reply from the prophet when a woman asked him to speak to her of children. What prophet said? They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. That means prophet is trying to make a concept clear, make his concept clear that they here stands for children. They here in the poem stands for children. The children are the sons and the daughters of life's longing for itself. Life's longing for itself. The children are the creation of the life. That means life has created the children, a son or a daughter. They have their own life. They are not like the parents. Here, parents are in the past. They have the life from the beginning, but a child has got birth just now. So the prophet is making himself clear of his statement that your children are not your children. What they mean by, what he mean by, that means they are, the children are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. That means the life has created the children with its own intention. Every individual has their own intention in the life. Every individual has their own goal in the life. They are here to fulfill their own goals, but not of any another else. Maybe they are parents, maybe they are your teachers, or maybe anyone else. Here, that prophet is making clear to the woman that sons and they are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. Their birth has got its own intention. Life has created the children, so they have their own intention in the life. They come through you, but not from you. Here, in this line, you stands for the parents. You stands for parents. They come through you, but not from you. That means parents are the means to give birth to a child. ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಯ ಮೂಲಕ ಮಗು ಜನನ ಪಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು, ಆದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜನನಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣರಾಗಿದ್ದು ಯಾರು? ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಲೈಫ್, ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಗಾಡ್. ಹಿಯರ್ ದ ಲೈಫ್, ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ದ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಷನ್, it has a different intention for making the birth of a child. ಆ ಮಗುವಿನ ಜನನ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it has got its own intention, aspiration, ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದರದೇ ತನ್ನದೇ ಆಗಿದ್ದಂತ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶ, ಜೀವನಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಥ ಅಂತನೂ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿರ್ತದ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, they come through you but not from you. That means parents can give birth to a child. They are the means for giving birth to a child. There the duty of the parents completes. If a child has taken birth, that means it has got its own intention, its own wishes. It can do anything it wishes to do. ತನಗೇನ್ ಬೇಕು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹದ್ದೆಲ್ಲಾನು ಬುದ್ಧಿಶಕ್ತಿ ಏನದಲ್ಲ ಆ ಮಗುವಿಂದೇ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಹೊರತು ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ ಟು ಅ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ದೇ ಶುಡ್ accept the truth. ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ? They are not your children. That means they are the sons and daughters of life, not only of parents. They are the sons and daughters of life. They can come through you, but not from you. They are not aspired child of the parent, but the birth it is from the God, from the life. So here the prophet is telling the mother, he is asking, he is saying the mother to make realize of this, that the children, they are through you but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. What here he mean by and they are with you? They are with you means here those children are living with the parent. They are leading the life with the parent, but yet they belong not to you. What does he mean by here? To what they belong to? They belong to the life, longing for itself. They belong to the life, but not to the parent. ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಬಿಲಾಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. That means the children belong to the life, and though they are with you, he is very clearly telling, he is very clearly saying that, and though they are with you, even though they can stay with the parent, even though they are leading their life with the parent, yet they belong not to you. Yet they belong not to parent, but to their own life. The parents ಗೆ ಬಿಲಾಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ತಮ್ಮದೇ ಆಗಿದ್ದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಲೈಫಿಗೆ ಅವರಲ್ಲೇ ಬಿಲಾಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. And prophet continues, for sorry, you may give them your love but not your thoughts. He is asking the parents. In the very beginning we discussed, we learned that here the prophet is guiding the parent how to be with their children, how to behave with their children, how to how not to give their thoughts to their children. Here he is telling the same. You may give them your love. Here you again the parents may give them. Them here stands for the children. Parents can give their love to their children but not their thoughts. That means the prophet is asking the parent not to impose their idea, not to impose their thoughts on their children. ಆ ಮಗುವಿನ ಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇರಬೇಡ್ರಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಂಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡ್ರಿ. That means here the prophet is again trying to tell the parent that they belong to the life. They belong to life itself, life longing for itself. They have their own thought. They are individual. They can think. They can have their own idea. ಅವರು ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ನಿಮ್ಮ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೇರಬೇಡ್ರಿ ಅಂತಂದು ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. You may give them your love. ಅನ್ಕಂಡೀಷನಲ್ ಲವ್. ಎಂಥ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ? ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿ ಕೊನೆಯ ಉಸಿರಿರುವವರೆಗೂ ತಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಯು ಮೇ ಗಿವ್ ದೆಮ್ ಯುವರ್ ಲವ್ ಬಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಥಾಟ್ಸ್. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಲವ್ ಯುವರ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್, ಬಟ್ you are not allowed to give your thoughts to your children, not allowed to instinct your thoughts on your children. ನಿಮ್ಮ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಮಗುವಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಡ್ರಿ. Sometimes we do think like, as a children we start thinking like, why I am being asked to be like this here in the society? Why always my parents are asking me to do what they wish to? ತಾವಾಗೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತದೋ ಅದನ್ನ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? That is what here the prophet is guiding the parents not to impose your thoughts on your children, because they are individual. They can have their own individual thought. They are independent, for they have their own thoughts. That is what he is telling here. For they have their own thoughts. For the children can have their own thoughts. That means here he is trying to tell the parent, let the children be independent. Let them do whatever they want to. ಏನ್ ಬೇಕು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಲ್ಲೇ ಬಿಟ್ರಾಯ್ತು. Let the children learn by committing mistake. If you commit mistake for the first time, you will learn by it and you will not repeat the same. ಒಂದ್ ಸರಿ ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನೀವೇನ್ ಕಲ್ಕೊಂತೀರೋ ಅದನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೊಂದ್ ಸರಿ ನೀವಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. That is what here the prophet is trying to tell the parent or that mother. For they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies but not their souls. You may house their bodies but not their souls. Here, soul means, not to take it so worldly meaning. Why can't we think it as manasu, our mind, soul? What prophet is here telling you? You may house their bodies but not their souls. House here we can take it as a mind. How is your mind? By sitting here, your mind can travel anywhere in the world. You cannot hold of it. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ ನೀವು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಹಿಡಿದಿಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. That is what the prophet is trying to tell here. You may house their bodies. ಒಂದು ಮನುಷ್ಯನನ್ನ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಡಿದು ಕೂಡಿಸಬಹುದು. What? He physically may be here but not mentally. ಅವನು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಹಾರಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಜಿಗಿದಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರಬಹುದು. That is what the prophet is trying to tell. You may house their bodies. At present, the children are with the parent. ಈ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಒಳಗ ಈ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಬಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಸೋಲ್ಸ್. ಯು ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ದೇರ್ soul, which has already started thinking of their future. Once the child starts educating itself step by step, experiencing itself throughout the life, the child will start learning. ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಜೀವನದೊಳಗ ಅನುಭವದ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾವೇನು ಕಲ್ಕೊಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವೋ, that will make us to think of present and to think of future. Our own future. ಜೀವನದೊಳಗೆ ನಾವು ಏನಿರಬೇಕು? If your parents are telling from the beginning, from your childhood, I want you to be a doctor, I want you to be an engineer, I want you to be a teacher. Nobody will start telling you, I want you to be a prophet. ಯಾರೋ ನೀನು ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. But who knows your future? That is what here prophet is trying to tell. You may house their bodies but not their souls. their soul can dwell, their soul can dwell somewhere else. ಅವರ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತದ. ಯು ಮೇ ಹೌಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಬಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಸೋಲ್. ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, you can be with them, you can live with them, you can give your love to your children but not your thoughts. The same thing goes on for their souls. He is making himself clear. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow. Tomorrow, the very word tells us the future. Tomorrow means nothing but the future. As he says, for their souls. Here, their souls means the souls of the children that dwell, that stays in the house of tomorrow. Physically, maybe the children are with their parent, but their mind, their souls already started staying in the house of tomorrow. Future, ಭವಿಷ್ಯದೊಳಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾವ. What kind of future they want to have? ತಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನ ಹೆಂಗಿರಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ರೂಪಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದು ಹೇಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಲ್ಲೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit. Which means the house of tomorrow, where the souls of the children are already staying in the future, that cannot be visited from the parents or anyone else. Here, the tomorrow means the future. Here, souls means your mind. Whatever you are thinking in your mind, that cannot be stolen from any another else. That cannot be guessed from any other else. That is what the prophet here is trying to tell us, which you cannot visit. Which cannot be visited by the parents, that is the house of tomorrow, where the children's soul is dwelling already. ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಭವಿಷ್ಯವನ್ನ ಅವರು ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದನ್ನ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಯಾರು ಹೋಗಿ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಗೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳಿಕ್ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ಆಲ್ ಆರ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್, ವಿ ಆಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಾಟ್ ಅವರ್ ಓನ್ individual thoughts. That is what the prophet is trying to tell us. Parents cannot visit the house of tomorrow, not even in your dreams. He says that not even in your dreams, not even in the parents' dreams, they can't visit the house of tomorrow, where the souls of the child already is dwelling. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮಗುವಿನ ವಿಚಾರಗಳು, ಅವರ ಮನಸ್ಸು, ಅವರ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ರೂಪಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೋ ಅದನ್ನ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾಟ್ ಇವನ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಡ್ರೀಮ್ಸ್ ಯು ಕೆನಾಟ್ ವಿಸಿಟ್ ದ ಹೌಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಟುಮಾರೋ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಅಥವಾ ಯು ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಯುವರ್ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್. ದ ಓನ್ಲಿ ರೀಸನ್ ಈಸ್ the age gap, generation gap. The younger generation is adopted with technology today. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಹೆಂಗಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಹುಟ್ಟತ್ಲೆ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಟ್ರೈಂಗ್ ಟು ಟೆಲ್, ಇಫ್ ಅದೇ ಒಂದು ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಏಜ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಮನೆಯೊಳಗೆ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದೆ ಆದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ time and they may not accept that technology with their life. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, they are the future, they are not present, they are the future, they have their own thought, they are individual, let them be. Let them lead their life. Let them create their own life. That you should not impose your thoughts. You can stay with them. You can give your love to your children, but not your thoughts. You cannot hold off their thoughts too, and you cannot visit their thoughts. You cannot visit their future. You may strive to be like them. Parents may strive to be like their children, but seek not to not to make them like you. Here again, he is asking the parent to be very careful with their behavior towards their children. ಮಗುವಿನ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇರ್ತಿರೋ, ಹುಟ್ಟತ್ಲೆ ಮಗು ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇರ್ತದ. How those parents are acting, how those parents are behaving in front of the child, there its education starts, its learning process starts. ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದಾನೇ ಕಲಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಮಗು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, you may strive to be like them. Parents they can strive to be like their children. Sometimes parents to tell their children that you can consider me as your friend and you can share anything with me. ನಾನು ನಿನ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮನಸ್ಸೊಳಗಿದ್ದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂತ ಬಾ, ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತ ಬಾ. That means indirectly those parents would like to know what is going on in their child's life. ಮಗುವಿನ ಜೀವನದೊಳಗೆ ಏನ್ ನಡೀಲಿಕ್ಕತ್ತದ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದು parents may struggle hard to be like their children. But here the prophet is making them warn, a kind of warning here. Seek not to make them like you. ಅಂದ್ರೆ parents can be the child, or parents can be a friend of their own child, but they should be very careful that they should not make their children just like them. ನಿಮ್ಮಂತೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಗುವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಡ್ರಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ let the child be like its own. Let the child be what it would like to be. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕೋ ಅದ್ ಮಗು ತನ್ನಂತೆ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಂದು ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಲ್ಲೇ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. Tarries with yesterday. Here, tarries means those worries, whatever has happened in the past that we won't carry. That is why we call it today, yesterday, tomorrow. Everything will change with the time. So here the prophet is advising the parent, life goes not backward nor tarries with yesterday. They should realize they can be like their child, they can behave like a child, they can be a friend of their child, but they should not impose, they should not pressurize to have their own thoughts on their children. So here prophet is telling the parent that they can strive to be like their children, but not to make the children like themselves. For life goes not backward nor tarries with yesterday. Yesterday means past. Past which we have left behind. ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ನಾವು ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿರ್ತಾವೆ. Life will go on, it will not stop. ನೆವರ್ ಎಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಏನೋ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಮ್ಮ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಪಾಸ್ ತಗೊಳಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಿಂತು ಹೋಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋಸ್ ಆನ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಯು ಆರ್ ದ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ಸ್. Here he is making a comparison. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. Here he is telling bows you all know. Bows ಏನ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತದ, bow ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ತದ, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದ್ರ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ that arrow, both for both you know the meaning. You are the bows from which your children are leaving arrows sent forth. Here in the poem, bows refers to parents and arrows refers to children. Parents are yesterday, children are today and tomorrow. Even though parent may have today as well as tomorrow, but as we are speaking on children, they are the future. They are longing themselves for to have a beautiful life. That is what he is trying to tell here. You are the bows from which your children as leaving arrows are sent forth. To send forth, ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಳಿಸೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು? Don't make your children just like you. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರನ್ನ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡ್ರಿ. Let them live in the future. ಭವಿಷ್ಯವನ್ನ ರೂಪಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. You are the bows. Bows here stands for parents. Arrow stands for children. You are the bows from which your children as leaving arrows are sent forth. The archer. The archer stands for the god here. Illi archer antandre ee poem olaga it stands for the god here. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite. Infinite, never ending. Infinite, never ending. The archer sees the mark upon the path of infinite. Here infinite it stands for life. Life is infinite. We don't have end. We may end our own life but not the life itself. ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನ ಮುಗಿಯಬಹುದು ಆದರೆ ಜೀವನ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಮುಗಿಯಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ the archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite and he bends you. He bends you. Here he stands for God. Bends you. In this line, you stands for parents. With his might, that his arrows. Again the arrow stands for children. His arrows may go swift and far. Swift, making twist. That means indirectly, the prophet is advising, conveying a message to that mother that the God is bending you according to his might so that you can help your children to go far. Parents can help their children to go far, to create their future, to create children's future. They are in need of parents support. Nimdu support idre saaku. You are getting his might. Yen ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ his might. The God is there. He is bending the parent for his arrows may go swift and far. Twists ಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾವ ಲೈಫ್ ನೊಳಗ. We may face some horrible situations, but at that moment we do need parent as our supporters. ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಗಳಂತನ್ನೋದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಆ ಸಂದರ್ಭದೊಳಗೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? You should be there for your child so that they can see their own individual future. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. Here, let your bending in archer's hand. Let your bending. Who is being bent here? That is parent. Archer stands for God. Here, the archer is bending the parent for gladness. Here, gladness. When parent will be so happy? Exactly at the time when their child do something and achieve something, and it makes the parent so happy. They are very delighted whenever they get the great news from the side of their child. So here prophet is telling, let your bending in the archer's hand and be for gladness. The parent has to wait for a delightful moment. The parent has to wait for a delightful moment. While that waiting period, the act of bending is going on. The all that thing is being explained previously. ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ? They may strive, they may struggle hard to be like their child. They may become just like their own child. That is all going on in the life of the parent. That may be very struggling moment, but they have to wait for a delightful moment. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, he concludes. In these two lines, the prophet is concluding at the end. In the future, a delightful moment is waiting for you people, parents, as well as the child. For even he loves the arrow that flies. The arrow that flies. Flying arrow ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ which is not stable, which has not yet reached its goal. The child, still they are learning, still they are still they are learners, beginners. They have not approached their aim yet. So he is telling, for even as he loves the arrow that flies. Flies ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ arrow is still flying ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ not it has yet reached its goal ಅಂತ meaning. So he loves the bow that is stable. The bow that is stable in the hands of the archer. Archer hatra the bow ಏನಾಗಿದೆ? Stable ಆಗಿ ಉಳ್ಕೊಂಡದ. Already the parent has reached the stability, the stable age. They have got a stability in their own life. What the children? ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಬಂದಿರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, you should be you should be very careful while doing something in front of the child, or while making yourself a child, or while behaving in front of a child that is a student yet. ಅದು ಇನ್ನೂ ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದರ ಜೀವನದೊಳಗೆ ಕಲಿಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ದು ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅದ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, for even as he loves the arrow that flies. Arrow, he loves the child as well, which is not at stable. He stable agidyaru, parents are stable already. The arrow that flies andre it is not stable, unstable. So he loves the arrow as well as the bow that stand for parent. These are the concluding lines of the prophet when he was being asked to speak to them of children. Conclusion ದೊಳಗೆ ಏನ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, the God, he is bending the parents according to his mind so that children can reach their goal. ಮಗು ತನ್ನ ಗೋಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ರೀಚ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕತ್ತಾನೆ? Archer is helping the parent, just like the parent are helping us to have our own individual independent life. Here you have the summary for the poem. Here in comprehension 1, the first question, and the woman who held a babe against her bosom said, speak to us of children. And he said, here he refers to the prophet. The next question, your children are not your children. That means parents should not be possessive of their children. Parents should not be possessive of their children. Throughout the lines, in each line, the prophet conveyed his message, advised the parenthood not to impose your thoughts on your children, not to be so possessive. Possessive ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಹೆಂಗ್ ನಮ್ದು ಬಿಹೇವಿಯರ್ ಇರ್ತದಂತಂದ್ರೆ we want our loved one to act, to behave according to us. ನಾವ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವೋ ಹಂಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು, ನಮ್ಮಂತೆನೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ನಡಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತನ್ನೋ ಬಿಹೇವಿಯರ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ನಮ್ದಾಗಿರ್ತದ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ possessive of their children. Next one is they come through you but are not from you. That means though parents give birth to their children, ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ biological means ಅಂತ ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ, their children they do not own them. ಓನಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ವಿ ಓನ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ. ಗಳಿಸಿ 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 ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಆಸ್ತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಂದು ಅಂತನೋ ಮನೋಭಾವ ಬಂದಿರ್ತದ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹಿ ಈಸ್ ಟ್ರೈಂಗ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಓನಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಇಟ್. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗಿರೋದು ಬೇರೆ ಇರ್ತದ, ಅದನ್ನ ಗಳಿಸೋದು, ಪಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, ನನ್ನದನ್ನ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಬೇರೆ ಆಗಿರ್ತದ. ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ what may be given to the children? Only their infinite love, never ending. ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಮಗುವನ್ನು ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. Next one, their soul dwell in the house of tomorrow. That means the children belongs to future, the children belongs to life, their own future. Then last question answer is the bows and leaving arrows refers to parents and children. Next one is comprehension 2. Their first question, why does the prophet categorically state your children are not your children? That means the previous one, the first sentence itself, the first line, the first words of the prophet itself, with that he is so clear, your children are not your children means they belongs to life, they belongs to future. ಅದೇನು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್, second question in second main, what does the metaphor imageries, metaphor bows and arrows signify with regard to parent children relationship? Here in the poem these two have been, that is bows and arrows will be compared to parent and children. So here they are asking us how you can prove those things ಅಂತಂದಿಲ್ಲ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕತ್ತಾರ and you have the answer here. According to the prophet, what attitude should parents have towards their children? Attitude ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ behavior. What type of behavior parents should have towards their children? In every line he has cleared, prophet has cleared. ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದ? Not to think of your, not to impose your thoughts to your children, and not to make them like you, not to ask them to be like you. You cannot hold off their soul. ಆ ಮಗುವಿನ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ ಹಿಡಿದಿಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. He was very clear. ಇದೇ attitude ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, behavioral aspects ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Here you have the answer. Next one, that is comprehension 3. There the question is, in the poem parents could stand as a metaphor for. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ಏನೇನ ಹೇಳಬಹುದಾಗಿದೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಸ್ ದ older generation. Yes, the parents are older generation. The leaders, yes, they are leaders because they are leading their life. They led their life, they are leading their life, they will lead with their children too. ಮೊದಲು ಇದ್ರು ಈಗೂ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕೂಡ ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರಿಗೆ ನೆನಪಿರ್ಲಿ. ಲೀಡರ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರಾಗ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ತದ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಫಾಲೋಡ್ ಬೈ ಅನದರ್, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಅವರನ್ನ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇರ್ತದ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಬಿಹೇವಿಯರ್. ರಿಲಿಜಿಯಸ್ ಹೆಡ್ಸ್ ಹೆಂಗಾಗ್ತಾರೆ? if a child takes birth means here the parents duty is not to impose their thoughts, but they should give some knowledge how to be in the society. They should prepare the child for the society, not only for themselves. ಸಮಾಜದೊಳಗಿರುವಂಥ ಜೀವಿಗಳ ನಾವು ಸಮಾಜದೊಳಗೆ ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಇವ್ರು ಕಲಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಹೊರತು ರಿಲಿಜನ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಹೌ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ಇವರಲ್ಲೇ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್. ಯಾಕೆ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಗಿನ್ಸ್ ಅಟ್ ಹೋಮ್. ಮನೆಯಿಂದನೇ ಅವ್ರಿಗೊಂದು ಕಲಿಯುವಂಥದ್ದು ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೌ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್. Having considered the above options, offer different readings of the poem. ಈ poem ಅನ್ನ ನೀವು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತದ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. And next question is, in the light of the poem, think of different levels of freedom children must have shaping their lives. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ದಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಪೋಯಮ್. ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ದ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಹೇಳಿಕತ್ತಾನ. ಈಚ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಹಿ ಈಸ್ ರಿಪೀಟಿಂಗ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ನಾಟ್ ಟು ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್, ನಾಟ್ ಟು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. ನಾಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕತ್ತಾನೆ, ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಹಿ ಈಸ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ದ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಟು ನೋ they are individual. Children are individual and they have their own things in their future, in their life. Let them be independent. Or independent ಆಗಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೋ, but you should be there to help wherever they are unable to move on. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೋ ಅವಾಗ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವಲ್ಲಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದ. And you have the answer here. The last question here is, the poem does not focus merely on the lives of children, but also talks about the responsibility of parents. Discuss. Here, actually, that woman asked to speak us of children. ಆ ಮಗುವಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ಲು. ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಬಂದ್ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಲು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇವನ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಒಂದು ಪೋಯಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, he not only speaks of children, ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಹೇಳಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, but also the responsibility of parents towards children. ಆ ಮಗುವಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅದರ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ರೂಪಿಸುವುದರಲ್ಲಿ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಎಷ್ಟದ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅವನಲ್ಲೇ throughout the poem he explains. That has been covered here in the answer. So it was the conclusion of the third poem, that is On Children by Khalil Gibran. Let us meet again with a new topic. Thank you.